Welcome back, Math 140 students. We will continue with section 11.4, properties of logs. So here we have all the list, all in one page, of all of the rules for logs that we're going to use for this chapter. So we have the product rule, we have the quotient rule, and the power rule. And I think those three are really going to be the ones that we use the most, okay? So for practice problem 1 down below, it says to expand the following. So for part A, you can see that we have division. So because this is a division, we are going to go with the quotient rule. So notice how this is division as well. So what we do is we change the division, the single division, into two logs that are being subtracted. So you're just like, okay, well, this is how I'm going to rewrite it. It still has the same base. So log base 6 of something minus log base 6 of something else. Now the question is, well, what are we going to put where? So it looks like this numerator goes first. So my numerator is 38. Then the denominator is going to be behind it. So my denominator is going to be 71. Okay? So I just used my quotient rule and I had expand the following. Now for part B, I have multiplication. So because I have this multiplication, I'm going to be using this product rule. This multiplication tells me to split it into addition with the same base. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Log base 7 of something plus log base 7 of something else. So what am I going to put where? Well, it looks like that x, the thing that came first, comes first. So it looks like this 15 is going to come first. Then afterwards, the 136 gets into that second log. So 136 is in that second log. Okay, so now I have used the quotient rule and now I have used the product rule. So that last one we're going to really want to look at is going to be our power rule. So with this power rule, what's really different about this is that the power, or the exponent, gets brought out in front. So that's what you're doing. You're bringing this power and you're bringing it out to the front. So that means this power, we're bringing it out to the front. So now I have a 1/6 that's being multiplied by this log base 9 of 24. Okay, and that is going to be your final answer. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that just a little bit nicer. It's my 1/6. So remember that 1/6 is being multiplied by everything. So 1/6 times log base 9 of 24. So over here, it looks like we are going to have the power rule again. So I'm going to take this 4, I'm going to bring it out to the front. So 4 times, now I'm going to multiply everything. So log base 3 of 5 x plus 1. So what you can see here is that this 5 and this x plus 1, it's being multiplied. So I'm going to have to split that into addition. So I'm going to have log base 3 plus log base 3. And so the first thing I'm going to write down is the 5, and the next thing I'm going to write down is that x plus 1. And I can't forget that I have the 4 out in front. So this 4 gets multiplied to both of those things. So I'm going to have 4 times log base 3 of 5 plus 4 times log base 3 of x plus 1. All of that as my final answer. For part C, it's very similar. I have my power rule. So I'm going to have 5 out in front. So I'm going to have my log base 8 And now I have 9 minus c over 2. So since it's division, that division tells us that I am going to split it. And I'm going to split it into subtraction. So log base 8 minus log base 8. And out in front, I still have the 5. So in this case, the numerator is going to go first, so 9 minus c, and the denominator comes second. So this is really 5 times log base 8 of 9 minus c minus, oops, don't forget that 5 gets distributed to both of those. So don't forget it's minus 5 times log base 8 of 2. And so that will be your final answer. Okay, well, with that being said, we have some practice problems. So this is where we're going to write it into a single expression. So instead of expanding it, we're going to shrink it. And we haven't really done that yet as examples, so I'll go ahead and do this with you. So this 4, whenever there's a number out in front, I'm going to use it as the power rule. So I'm going to have log base 4 of m plus 3 to the 4th power plus log base 5 of n to the 2nd power. The next thing that I'm going to notice is that this is multiplication. And for whatever reason, I realized that my base was not right. The base here is 5, so I should go ahead and make sure that I have log base 5 on both of them. This is log base 5. Okay, that makes more sense. So log base 5 of m plus 3 to the 4th power plus log base 5 of n squared. Now that the bases are the same, I can choose, or I can take that addition and change it into multiplication, so I can condense it into a single log. So I'm going to rewrite this as log base 5, and I'm going to change that addition into multiplication. So what do I actually have in here? I have m plus 3 to the 4th power, and I also have that n squared. So I'm just going to rewrite it so it just looks a little bit nicer. So I'm going to have log base 5 of n squared times m plus 3 to the 4th power. And I'm just going to leave it as that. And that's as far as I need to go. So for part 2, I have this power. So I'm going to bring it out to the front, or up on top. So I have log base 9 of x plus 2 minus log base 9 of x minus 1 to the 3rd power. Write that a little bit nicer. To the 3rd power. Now I see that this is subtraction. So when it's subtraction, I'm going to change it into division. So I'm going to have log base 9. And now I have my division. So my numerator is going to be the first thing, so x plus 1. My denominator is going to be the thing on the bottom, so that's going to be the x minus 1 to the 3rd power. And that's as far as I need to go. So log base 9 of x plus 1 over x minus 1 to the 3rd power. And that's going to be my final answer. So now for this page, so 13 through 18, and so all the way down to the end of this, or mid-page 19, so all of page 18 and halfway through page 19, I want you guys to go ahead and try these problems on your own. So these are your practice problems. This is where you press pause and try to work on these problems and check your answers against mine. So go ahead and press pause. Well, I hope you guys had enough time to work out these problems. So for number 13, it was subtraction, so it turned into division. For number 14, remember that denominator, we can really say that there's a 1 in front of that log 6, so we can think of it as a 1/3 times log 6. So that 1/3 becomes the exponent, so I have log 6 to the 1/3 power. For number 15, I used my power rule for both. They are both 4, so I have log 3 divided by 8, all to the 4th power. For number 16, they're all addition, so they all got multiplied, so 2 times 11 is 22, times 7, that's 154. For number 17, I had 2 as the exponent, and then I had subtraction, so it turned into division, and I have my 12 squared, which is 144. For number 18, it's very, very similar to number 14, where I take that 2/3 and it's being multiplied by log of 7, so it gets brought up as the exponent or the power. And for the more practice problems, I have this big ugly fraction, but it's okay, we broke it apart. So first I moved all of those coefficients as the power, and then I changed the addition into multiplication, and then the subtraction turned into division. And for that last one, I had subtraction, so I turned that into division first, and then that 2 became the power, so that was going to be my exponent. And for number 3, I worked from inside the brackets to the outside, so I changed the addition into multiplication, and then I turned that subtraction into division as my final answer. Okay, so that should wrap up section 11.4. If you guys have any questions, please email me.